This episode is brought to you by Saratoga Spring Water. Elevate every moment with Saratoga's award-winning taste and signature blue bottle. Hi everyone, I'm Meredith Abbott, Culinary Director for Sur La Table, and welcome to On the Table. Today I'm making the traditional French dish, coq au vin, which means rooster and wine, or in this case, chicken and wine. I love a Dutch oven for this recipe for many reasons. One, they're beautiful. Two, they can go from your stove top to the oven to your table, and the lid, while it's in the oven, while it's braising, it creates this environment where it bastes itself. So it's perfect for long, slow dishes like this. All right, once your Dutch oven is preheated, add your bacon. And this is cut into 1-inch pieces or lardons. And I'm going to cook this to render out or release all of the fat and crisp the bacon. And then we're going to cook the rest of the ingredients in that bacon fat to really just add layers upon layers of flavor. While my bacon is cooking, I'm going to season my chicken. This is bone-in, skin-on chicken. Prefer that, again, for long cooking methods like this braise. You're gonna season liberally with salt and pepper. And this is just gonna hang out until the bacon's done. Okay, this bacon is nice and golden brown. It's crispy. There's lots of rendered fat down in the bottom of this Dutch oven. And with my slotted spoon, I want most of that fat to stay in the Dutch oven because that's how I'm going to brown the chicken and start cooking the vegetables. So tap out any excess fat back into the Dutch oven. Okay, now I'm gonna start browning my chicken. I don't want to add too many pieces into the Dutch oven, so I'm gonna just start with my chicken breasts. I'm gonna place them skin side down. Ooh, listen to that. Another one, leaving a little bit of space in between because you want these to brown and sear, and you don't want them to steam in their own juices. So leave lots of space. Great. And we're just going to cook on this side until the skin is nice and golden. We'll give it a flip, and then we'll move on to the rest of the chicken. That looks really nice. I'm gonna flip this piece. Skin's nice and crispy. There's some deep golden parts. So this chicken is brown on both sides. So I'm gonna take it out and put it onto a clean baking sheet. Add my remaining chicken. So my chicken is continuing to brown. I just need to finish up a little bit of mise en place. Mise en place is that French saying that means everything in its place, which means you have everything prepped before you're ready to cook. So I've got my onions, carrots, celery, and leeks already diced into pretty big pieces. I just need to finish up my last stalk of celery and just cut into 1-inch cubes. And this is going to go in with the rest of my celery. My chicken is nicely browned on all sides, so I'm gonna remove it. And this is just going to hang out while I cook and brown my vegetables. So, okay, I'm going to add my onions. Careful, this could splatter a little bit. So always pour away from you. My carrots and celery. Gonna give it a little stir. Now, if I was only using these vegetables, this is what the French refer to as mirepoix, which is a very classic way of flavoring French dishes with onions, celery, and carrots. But to this, I'm also going to add some leeks. And we're going to give this a stir, coating it in all of that flavor of the bacon fat. We're going to cook this until the vegetables begin to soften and they get some color on them. So they'll start turning nice and golden brown as well. So it'll take about 5 to 6 minutes, maybe longer. Okay, so our vegetables have been cooking in the bacon fat. And you really want to take your time with this step. You really want to brown the vegetables because this dish is all about the technique. So browning your vegetables helps build this wonderful, luscious, deep flavor. I'm going to cut a garlic head in half. It's going to help impart a lot of flavor. So add that to your vegetables, skin and all, and tomato paste. And scraping all of that in. And tomato paste is a wonderful ingredient. You should always have it in your refrigerator. It helps just build a ton of flavor, and toasting it really deepens that sweetness of the tomato. So adjust your heat. We don't want this to brown too much. We don't want anything to burn. And we're just going to toast this just for about a minute until that tomato paste becomes really fragrant and kind of deepens in color. Great, I'm happy with that. And I'm going to add in some flour. Stir that in. We're gonna get everything nice and coated in this flour. Maybe reduce your heat just a little bit. Stir this all around. It's gonna start thickening immediately. And this is what's going to give your sauce a really rich, silky, velvety texture. There we go. And now I'm going to add in my wine. Burgundy wine is traditional for this dish. Today I have a delicious Beaujolais. And just add it in. It's gonna steam, so make sure you're not standing right over the pot. Add in this entire bottle. Now you're going to scrape the bottom of the pot really, really well. You want all of those browned bits that accumulated in the bottom of your Dutch oven to release and then be part of the sauce. Those browned bits are called fond. There's a really cheesy line that says, you're quite fond of fond, but fond is flavor, so scrape up those bits. And you're going to let this simmer for about 4 or 5 minutes. Then we're gonna add our chicken back in. All right, so the wine has now thickened. You can see how smooth and luscious this is. Now I'm going to add my chicken back in. Nestle it right in, like so. Kind of get it coated in the sauce. Okay, and then if there's any juices on your pan, make sure to pour those back in. All that is flavor. Okay, and now we're going to add just enough chicken broth or stock just to cover the chicken. And I need it all. Okay, I'm gonna just stir a little bit. I'm going to add in some thyme and bay leaf. This is going to add some nice freshness and a nice kind of earthy kick to it. And a few cracks of black pepper. And now I'm going to cover it and pop it into my oven. And now I'm going to make the vegetables that are going to get served on top of the chicken. Add some butter and oil. And while this is melting, I'm going to finish quartering some of my cremini mushrooms. Cremini are these nice brown ones. You can use button if you happen to have a more wild variety of mushrooms, like morels, shiitake. Feel free to use those as well. So just quarter them like so. So they're about bite-sized pieces. Okay, my mushrooms are all quartered. I have my pearl onions that I have already peeled. My butter and oil is hot. I'm going to add in my onions and your mushrooms and give this a nice stir. We want to coat all of our mushrooms and our onions in this butter and oil mixture, and then we're going to cook it until the mushrooms have released their liquids, that evaporates, and everything gets really nice, kind of brown and toasty. Now, if you're feeling confident, instead of stirring, you can try to give it a little flip. My mushrooms and onions are nice and golden. Next step is to add some sherry vinegar. Woo. This is going to help release some of that fond, but it's also going to impart a really nice kind of bright flavor. Now I'm going to salt and pepper. Give it a little stir. And now these go into the oven, and I'm going to take my Dutch oven out. All right, carefully. Oh, look at all of that yummy steam. It's still kind of bubbling a little bit. I'm going to take the chicken out and place it onto a fresh rimmed lined baking sheet. Oh, it's so tender. It has absorbed all of that yummy liquid. All right. Now I'm going to strain, so I'm going to pour all of this liquid over a mesh strainer that I've set over a large saucepan. Do this carefully. Ask somebody to help you if you need. You can use a ladle if you'd like. But we want to get all of that liquid into this saucepan. Okay, and now we're going to press all these vegetables through the fine mesh strainer. Because these vegetables have done their duty, they've given us all of their flavor. Now all we want is that sauce. So press and get all of those liquids out. Now, this goes back on the stove, and it's going to reduce even further. So bring it up to a simmer and let it bubble. All right, all of my components for this dish are ready. My sauce is thickened, my mushrooms and onions are nice and crispy. So now it's time to plate. Take one of these thighs. I'm gonna grab a breast. Okay, I'm gonna sauce it. Give your sauce a little stir. I'm actually gonna pick this up. Make sure you have plenty of sauce on your chicken. And take a scoop of onions and mushrooms. And now the crispy bacon that we made earlier goes on top. You could crumble it smaller if you'd like. I kind of like the big pieces. And now some fresh thyme. Some color and some freshness. And now my favorite part, I get to take a little bite. Take a little corner off here. Get a mushroom. The chicken is so tender and juicy because of that wine. The sauce is rich and velvety, and I've got some nice fresh vegetables on there. This dish is the perfect example of how, with some traditional techniques and attention to detail, you can take really simple ingredients and turn it into something incredibly special. Enjoy. Saratoga Spring Water is the perfect pairing for today's recipe. Saratoga Sparkling's bubbles complement Coco Van's bold flavors and strong aromas.